Welcome to Life Workshop, where we discuss the forgotten basics. Hi everyone, today's topic is honest or polite. And we have the original, most favorite co-host back, Bo.
Hello.
Bo, for the time that you were not here, I told Dyke that he's the most favorite. But honestly, I lied to him. Just I wanted him to feel good.
Oh,
But you are the most.
I thought for all this time you were lying to me.
No, never. I would never ever do that to you. I would do it to Dyke, but not to you.
I see how it is.
And this is the polite and the honest part, by the way.
Oh,
You're
no.
talking about the subject.
You sound all Canadian and stuff. What's going on with you?
I got the story goes like this, because normally say that Canadian are too polite to be honest. So that is where it came from, that, I have been Canadian. But yeah, so the question is that at what point do you want to be honest? And when do you want to be polite? Because sometimes they are not the same. And, and normally the way I look at it is, what do you want to achieve? And is that the right thing to do? Because sometimes, yes, to be honest is not really that polite. And vice versa.
I think we've said it before at some point. It's like, well, there's a fine line between honesty and being an asshole, right? And you have to find that. And you can be honest and be polite at the same time. You just need to maybe construct your words sometimes. And sometimes, you know what? People just need the blunt truth. Sometimes you just have to say, hey, what are you doing?
Actually, that is very true. I absolutely agree with you. You just put it in the, 10-second basic, the whole thing. But how do we make that decision that when you want to be brutally honest, when you don't want to be honest, because sometimes it's not a good idea. I will come up with one of these examples. Mm-hmm. And then when it is that, you have to negotiate, that do I want to be polite or honest?
And sometimes you just don't care.
Correct. It's not worth. Sometimes.
It's just not worth saying.
Just let it go. Right. Yeah. But for example, I brought this up in the previous podcast, I believe, that I said just about a month ago. I put on a little bit of a belly, and then one of my friends who is Ukrainian, and then she said, "Hey, Mo, you're getting a belly." And then I said, "Yeah, that's right." So I immediately, started working on it. But then the day after, I had another friend of mine who is Canadian. I told her that, this friend, she said that I have a belly. And then she said, "Oh my God, no, you're good." I said, "No, I do have a belly and I don't want it." But because she's Canadian, she wants to be nice and polite and, a mixture of the whole thing. She hasn't been honest in that sense. At least this is how I see it. And time to time, I have heard this from especially immigrants who come here, that they really don't get it. Have you been honest with me? When you say something, with the Canadian, or you're just saying it. So it's become really confusing. So because of that, we have to be careful that, we help people to basically they understand, to get the feedback. We had a discussion about this, the best ways to improve. One is self-reflection. Mm-hmm. But self-reflection is just that when it's your own thought about yourself. It is a very closed-minded way of looking at things. The best way is if you ask for feedback from others, then that way you can, get a better view. And that don't mean necessarily because you get a feedback, you're going to act on it or you should act on it. But it gives you a different perspective. Yeah. But now if people are going to be too polite and that they are not honest, you cannot get that.
Yeah.
And that becomes a problem. And normally businesses, in the business world, they ask you to provide us with feedback. Mm-hmm. But I don't know why we should not do that at a personal level.
Yep. Yeah. Point. Yeah.
And so sometimes we get those things kind of confused, and sometimes we are making the mistakes. Now I'm going to bring up a few cases in here to bring it home. I had this friend of mine who said when she was younger, as a teenager, which is like 30 years ago, in case, but then her teacher, she was a bit fat. And then the teacher had told the students to jump into the pool and go touch the floor. Mm-hmm. And then, but she couldn't. So she tells her...
Because she couldn't swim? Or
I think, I don't know.
Buoyant?
I don't know. but she told me that too buoyant, but probably that. So the teacher tells her fat floats. And then she tells her that in front of everybody, which of course there are a bunch of teenagers which are ruthless normally. And then she gets so hurt that after that she becomes anorexic. If you see her right now, you would not believe, are you fat? Because she's so skinny. But she said even to this date, which is about 30 years past that date, she is a bit anorexic. She's forcing herself into eating. Then when she said that she brings that story up with others and tells them that, be careful the way that you speak. Then I said, well, true, but I'm going to bring it up from a different version. She did not lie. There was some element of truth to it. The fat floats. Did she put it in the best way? No, she didn't. And at times, as you just said earlier, being absolutely blunt, sometimes that's the way it works. And I'm not saying in this case necessarily. She could have worded it in a different way, definitely not in front of others. She could have said it in a different way.
But but it did make her lose weight, right? But it went to an extreme, obviously.
Correct. So go ahead.
So was it? That's tough. Then it makes you wonder. It's like, well, I mean, the part of that was good, I guess, but another part's not, because you took it so personal that you went to this extreme ends, and you're still talking about it now. It's like maybe some therapy.
And she's suffering from anorexia even to this date.
Yeah. Well, maybe some therapy is normal.
Actually, this is where I'm going with this thing. And I told her, I said, no, some of the blame goes on you. I mean, when a communication happens, part of it on the responsibility is on the person who's saying it. Mm-hmm. But the other part is the responsibility of the listener, that how you want to take conclusion out of it. Of course, I don't expect her, especially at that age when she's teenager, to handle it properly. Mm-hmm. But really, the best way of handling it is to go back to the teacher. Again, I don't expect her to do that, but I'm just saying what the perfect scenario would be, that to go to the teacher, say that, what, you're right, fat floats, and that is the thing. Thank you for bringing that up. But the way you brought it up was not the best way. Mm-hmm. I wish you had brought it up in a different way. And then now you're aware of the situation, then you make a decision. Or it matters to you, or it doesn't.
Yeah,
it was just a feedback.
Yeah.
Now, you can make a decision that you want to do something about it or not. But of course, again, understand at that age, that's not how it works. But this is a perfect scenario, if, for example, we could, that in a case scenario that somebody provides it. For example, when this friend of mine, she tells me that you have a belly, or I can get defensive and then get upset and I don't talk to her and all that. Or I can say, oh, thank you for bringing that up. I didn't pay attention. Mm-hmm. Yeah, seriously. And that was the second case.
Yeah.
So, and this goes back to where this sentence that normally say, the way you think dictates the way you feel. Mm-hmm. So if the process of thinking would change, then probably she would not be as hurt. Or now that she's older, this lady that is anorexic, now that she's older, she can think differently. Yeah, she didn't say it the best way. I wish I had told her, that to put it in a better way. And when you share your story with others, put it that way. Don't just make it the responsibility of the person who's bringing it up to be so accurate. Because sometimes, what can you do? And how can I bring it up or don't bring it up? Which a lot of time, unfortunately, people don't bring it up. Yeah. And then you don't know, and you don't know what's going on. A lot of time it happens that, for example, we have something is bothering us. I'm not talking now about this subject only, but other things. For example, if there's something that you're doing that is annoying me, if I'm not going to bring it up with you, it's going to build up. Mm-hmm. If I cannot bring it up in a very honest way with you, then a few things are going to happen. Or I have to fake it, which you can fake it so much. It will show in the body language and confuses the person that what the hell is going on. Or I will keep it till at one point some other things they add up and explode, which sometimes we do that in relationships.
That's the right way to do it. In my experience, that's how it works.
Then you wait till a few things happen, then afterwards, all of a sudden, I'm going to put the whole damn thing, throw it at the table. Yeah. This is the thing that you said. This is the thing that you did.
Everything from 10 years ago.
Exactly. Exactly. So this is where I'm going with this, that, these are the mistakes that we make. But if, for example, we could bring them up, But at the same time, again, it's just the way that we think and the way that it's said. And sometimes if I cannot put it the best way, I have said this before and I'm repeating myself. If I want to say something that, for example, let's say, Bo, you're doing this and it's really bothering me, I can just come and tell you about my feelings. I say, Bo, when you do this, to be honest, I feel like this. I'm talking about my feeling, and my feelings are correct.
I'll probably make fun of you for being a girl. But I would.
I would tell you about my feeling.
But then I would listen.
Of course, there is nothing wrong with being a girl too. There is something wrong.
Well,
it's an old expression,
but,
okay?
Yeah. So I had a guy one time. I forget. It's a long story, but he came up with he got the nickname Wiener, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he came to me one day and said, "Bo, I really don't like that being called Wiener," and I was like, "Huh." And my first gut was like, "Oh, you're gonna get it now," but then I was like, "No, don't do that. Just stop calling him Wiener." So I stopped calling him that.
Okay.
But
I'm so proud of you.
But it was kind of funny, and it wasn't meant as like it was derogatory, but it wasn't meant like to make him feel bad. It was funny in the context of what was happening.
Correct.
Right?
But sometimes people's views change and those kind of things. You just respect that. Okay, you know what?
Yeah.
If it was funny to you too, sure. But now that is not, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, it was just a fun joke the one day.
So again, I'm going to bring up one more example that it happened some time ago. That again, the way, or you want to be honest, or you want to be, polite, because when you're too polite, that you're not expressing yourself, then it's defeating the purpose. As I said, then you build up something, and that becomes the stress in you, because if I cannot be honest and sincere with you about how something that you're doing that, let's say, that is bothering me, or something that I really think that you should do that is good for you, then it builds up. But of course, there's
my body, my choice, Mo.
And to just bring it up, then you can decide that if you want to have a belly or not. That's another thing. Oh. But let me tell you this story. You just check the belly.
Yeah,
you're good for that.
See now you're Canadian, because I know that's not true.
No, you don't have a belly. But anyways, I should tell you this story. I had a friend of mine. She's a very smart lady. She really is. But she does not know her own values. At least this is in my opinion. So once I told her that, really, you're worth more than this. You can do a lot more than what you're doing. She was doing a job that she was not paid enough. I believe she was not. I said, no, you deserve a lot more. You can be this. She's very smart. In that aspect, I have tons of respect for her. And she's a young lady. So we went for a walk. Then I brought up this story with her. I said, in Iran, we had a cartoon that it was like this, that there was this mouse is, walking outside, singing a song, in the mouse voice that, I want to do this, I want to do that. As he's walking, all of a sudden sees a cat and then runs to the a nest, that is hiding from there, and his heartbeat is just beating really fast. And then when the cat goes away, then he's kind of quiet for a moment, and then starts singing again in the cat's voice, in the mouse voice, that if I was a cat, I would do this. If I was a cat, I would do that. Then as he's singing that one, the genie shows up. Genie says, hey, do you want to become a cat? She says, oh, yeah, I want to be a cat. So he becomes a cat. Then now he walks out as a cat, but with a mouse voice, starts singing again that if I was life is so good and these things. But as he's walking, sees a dog. And again, runs again and hides from the dog. And again, heartbeat goes up. And again, afterwards that the dog has gone, the danger is gone. Then he starts thinking, if I was a dog, I would do this. If I was a dog, I would do that. So the story keeps going on till he becomes the lion, because lion is supposed to be the king of the jungle.
Okay.
So he becomes the lion. And then by this time, now he goes out, he starts singing that I'm the lion, I'm the king of the jungle, I can do this, I can do that. So I'm telling this story to that friend of mine. Then all of a sudden a mouse jumps out. The lion, of course he jumps away, he's scared that the mouse is going to harm him or something. And then the heartbeat goes up and is scared. And then the genie comes. Genie starts singing this time. Not the mouse. That the mouse is a mouse. Doesn't matter what you have, It doesn't matter what body you have. If you're a mouse, you're a mouse. You don't have the heart of it. So I told this story to this friend of mine. I said, you are very smart, but you're just scared of taking the steps. This is what I said. She said, so are you calling me a mouse? I said, that is your choice, that what you heard from this story. You can find it as an insult, or you can find it as a fact. And the fact that, I trust that you can do a lot more. It is all your call. If you saw it, that I called you a mouse, and the fact that being a mouse is scared and bad, then obviously you're going to hate me. If you want to look at it this way, no, I care about you, and I believe you can do a lot more, and yes, you are scared, and that's a fact that I see it as such, then you will be thankful that, hey, Mo, you brought up something that, maybe I was not aware of. I said, this is all your choice. The way you think dictates the way you feel. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to leave it in your court. So sometime, again, the way we see and narrate these stories, it will get us to feel differently, and definitely based on that act differently, and choose our friends differently, and then make our different conclusions and have a different life. Mm-hmm. I went a little bit too far with this one, but really one by one will affect that. Are you looking for people that they are rather honest, and or you accepting honest feedback regardless of how it is put? If it's put properly or not properly in your standards, then it is your call. Or you allow that to happen and invite feedback, or you're the one that, no, I'm here for confirmation. Tell me how pretty I am. Tell me how smart I am. And, tell me all that. And then if you say something otherwise, I'm going to hate you and I'm not going to talk to you. So again, the difference between polite and honest partly, is that, yes, you want to put it the best way that you can. But normally I say, I do not sacrifice honesty for the sake of politeness. So you have to choose one. I would be honest. Hey, the onus goes on the listener to decide what they want to do with it.
Yeah, I get that, right? Especially with the mouse thing, that really kind of hit it home. That it's not really about a mouse, their character, or the characteristics that we describe to mousiness as people. That's not the point. The point is you are what you are. You can change. You can get as many tattoos and face piercings as you want. You're still this, right? Mm-hmm. You're still that person. Their personality is how you are, right?
And actually, sorry, before I forget, I should mention, this friend that I'm talking about, that she has changed her job over the past few times. I think 6-7 years, twice, and her income is more than twice that it was at the beginning. Oh. I'm not saying necessarily it has been because of me, but I wouldn't be too surprised it has been influenced by that. Otherwise, she would be doing the same job.
You're going to go tell her she owes you a commission?
Hey, I never thought about that. I'm going to do that now.
Yeah. But anyway, we've been talking about honesty and politeness, and we're talking about honesty. It just occurred to me there that we're talking about it like it's always a criticism or something. Being honest, you're going to criticize, or you're going to be this. Isn't there a positive side too?
Actually,
like
no.
It's all been negative.
You're right. You're right. Actually, you're right. Never thought about that. There is a connotation to it that when you're honest with somebody, you're going to go critique them, and there is a negative thing to it.
Yeah, like, can't you be honest and be like
actually
positive about stuff? Like, how can we not think about it that way?
Personally, I really seek feedback.
Yeah.
And I normally I say, give me the highlights, the thing that I'm really good at in your eyes, and the thing that I'm really, I need help, or I should improve on. Because the average thing, I know, or doesn't do anything. But if you tell me the highlights, because sometimes we don't know exactly which part, we are shining, and which part we are really weak and we have to work on. We need the feedback. But that's a very good point. Yeah, there is a bit of a negative connotation with, I'm going to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. And it should not be. As simple as that.
No. It's weird, hey?
It is. This is very true. I never thought about that. Yeah. It should not be that. It is. I'm honest with you. It should show that, hey, I care about you. I'm sincere about it, and I'm not going to hold it back so that 10 years from now I just explode and put everything in the same package. throw it at you. 10 years ago you did that. 9 months ago you did that. Not in that fashion. Even, for example, actually some time ago I had some friends over. My zipper was open and done, and then they didn't tell me. Till later on,
maybe they like what they saw.
There wasn't much to see. I had covered, but no, in seriousness. And then I brought up. I said, "So why you didn't tell me?" And I brought it actually in public because one of the ladies she told me afterwards. She pulled me aside. She said, "Mo, your zipper is undone." I said, "Oh my God! So you should have told me earlier." But she was kind of shy to say that. So I came back to the party. That everybody was there, like 10 of us. I said, "She just told me that my zipper was undone. Why didn't you tell me? Or was it good?" So I made a light, thing of it and just said it. So a lot of time, actually now I'm going to go back to this, the concept of honesty. When we talk about that, the way we say it, how heavy we make it serious. If I want to be honest with you and say something, part of it will go back to me that how serious am I going to make it? Bro, I cannot tell you, but your hat, you make it so.
This is good. Shut up.
But you can make it so serious, or you can make it, hey, your hat is off, or for example, there is something on it. I don't know. It depends how serious you want to make it. It is a both parties thing. It can be very simple. If you don't mind, I'm going to come back because the podcast is becoming longer than one. In the second episode, I'm going to bring two of the incidents that I think are very interesting.
About honesty?
Yes. Continuation.
Because I have a thing to say.
Okay.
But I'll wait. I'll keep it inside and it'll blow up next episode.
As long as you don't explode.
If I'm invited back.
Okay, thanks for listening, and we will continue with this in the second episode. Take care all, and again, remember, life is simple. We make it complicated. Bye-bye.
Bye.